Meanwhile, in exam room 7, Ling emerged victorious over the final training puppet. She faintly sensed a dangerous presence emanating from the passage across from her. As she opened the door to proceed with the test, she was suddenly startled. The staff members stood there, holding shields and weapons, fully armed, and staring intently at the exit of another passage. Ling released her psychic power, allowing her to see through the walls. Behind the walls, she witnessed two individuals engaged in combat. However, the adversaries were not robots but humans. As she attempted to closely observe the identity of one of the combatants, immense and overwhelming pressure suddenly engulfed her as if she were being confronted by a demon itself. Beads of sweat dripped down her forehead. Startled, she took a few steps back, hastily retreating to her original passage, tightly closing the door. She sat on the ground, trembling uncontrollably. This palpable sense of fear was truly terrifying. Lieutenant Colonel Dong Qingxue, we will now refer to her as Snowy, and Major Qin Xiaojun hurriedly arrived at the scene. Major Qin inquired about the situation inside, only to learn that the cameras had been destroyed, leaving the situation inside unclear. Furthermore, communication with the supervising personnel had been lost a while ago. Major Qin immediately instructed the staff to prepare a report containing information on all individuals inside the passage. However, Snowy waved it off, saying it wasn't necessary. Just then, cracks appeared on the sturdy walls, and suddenly, Lu Xing burst through the door. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief upon realizing it was a student. In Lu Xing's hands, they saw him carrying someone. Lu Xing released the invigilator and introduced himself as Lu Xing from Whitewater City. Major Qin burst into laughter and expressed his satisfaction upon seeing Lu Xing. He remarked about how Lu Xing managed to destroy such expensive training puppets and even beat up the invigilator. Lu Xing, feeling awkward, explained that it was all a misunderstanding. He believed it was part of the assessment and knew the invigilator was strong but couldn't hold back. Snowy glanced at Lu Xing and suddenly released her psychic power. Hundreds of violet threads flew towards Lu Xing. Lu Xing's expression remained unchanged, and he didn't move. The threads passed through his body. Snowy closed her eyes as if she had obtained the answers she sought. She took a deep breath and congratulated Lu Xing on passing the assessment. She instructed him to rest for now. After the staff escorted Lu Xing away, the two instructors carefully analyzed the reports and recordings. The data revealed that Lu Xing's blood energy was only 15, but his battle strength reached an astonishing 15,000. It was truly unbelievable. Just a moment ago, Snowy attempted to use her psychic power to probe, but she didn't perceive anything, and Lu Xing showed no reaction either. Qin asked how they should handle this anomaly. Snowy remained silent for a moment and then said, the data may not be accurate, but for now, let's consider Lu Xing as a top seed, alongside Ling. A faint smile appeared on her lips. It seems that this camp has become quite interesting. Just a moment ago, Lu Xing sensed Snowy's probing. He could feel that Snowy's psychic power was more than 5 times stronger than his own. Immediately, he retracted his psychic power, unsure if he had been detected. At that moment, his stomach growled loudly. The staff members awkwardly smiled upon hearing it and decided to take Lu Xing to the cafeteria for a meal before returning to the dormitory. Lu Xing asked the portion size of the meal here. The staff member smiled and said, for your first meal, it's unlimited. Upon entering the cafeteria, Lu Xing saw a table full of delicious food. Within a few minutes, he devoured dozens of dishes. He then requested another 5 dishes, and eventually, he even asked for 10 more dishes. The staff members were astonished by his appetite. At that moment, a girl approached him, carrying a tray of food. She introduced herself as Yang, also a student from Whitewater City who participated in the training camp. They had gone through the assessment together. Lu Xing thought she had come to join him for a free meal, so he told her that the food here was unlimited and she could ask the chefs for her own portion. Yang gritted her teeth and thought, no wonder you don't have a girlfriend. Lu Xing asked again, recalling what the president had said about no one from Whitewater City being able to come here. Yang explained, it's not like that. Students from Whitewater City come here every year. However, very few can pass the assessment. Even if they do, they are often sent back due to insufficient points. Lu Sheng took a big bite into his massive roasted chicken and asked what the points were. Yang explained that points were the currency here. They could be used in the training camp to exchange for resources and equipment usage, seek advice from the instructors, obtain supplements, and even accommodation. In the future, they would also be required for meals. Yang held up 3 fingers and said, "Currently, only 3 people have points. They got their points by passing the initial assessment. The first person is Chao Yong, a martial artist with second-level talent and specialize in defense. The second person is Meng Jinhe, who also has a second-level talent, specializing in speed. The last person is the rarest and most powerful, Ling, who possesses an awakened psychic power talent. It is said that Ling is the strongest participant in this training camp." Just then, Ling passed by while holding her meal. She turned her head and caught sight of Lu Sheng, who was holding a large plate of roasted chicken. Their eyes met, and in that instant, her demeanor changed. She almost spilled her soup on the floor and quickly turned away, leaving the scene. Lu Sheng remembered that someone had used psychic power to probe him earlier and chuckled. He asked Yang, "Only 3 people cleared the assessment?" Yang replied, "It is said that there is a 4th person, but it's just a rumor. They say this person possesses terrifying strength, tearing apart all the second-level training puppets with bare hands. He was like a demon. He even sent the invigilator to the hospital." Yang burst into laughter, saying that such a lunatic couldn't possibly exist. As Lu Sheng took a sip of water, he choked and spat it out upon hearing this. Yang thought to herself that even though Lu Sheng was a talented prodigy individual in Whitewater City, in this training camp, he was just an ordinary person. She didn't want Lu Sheng to give up on himself. She reached out and handed him her handkerchief to wipe his mouth, saying that she believed in him. While Yang was encouraging Lu Sheng, she didn't notice the 3 people who had appeared behind them. The leader among them cleared his throat, and Yang turned around to see that it was one of the camp staff. The middle-aged man, looking at the report, said that due to the destruction of 18 training puppets during the assessment and the incident with the instructor ending up in the hospital, they needed to conduct an investigation. They requested Lu Sheng to accompany them. Yang couldn't believe her ears, and it wasn't just her. Everyone in the cafeteria turned their gaze toward Lu Sheng. Lu Sheng stood up awkwardly, saying that he hadn't finished eating, and asked if he could have his meal packed. The instructor was speechless but agreed to Lu Sheng's request. Lu Sheng waved to Yang before being taken away. Everyone in the cafeteria was stunned. The rumors turned out to be true. Yang remembered how she had described Lu Sheng earlier, and she thought, "Oh my, what have I said?" In the command room, Lu Sheng saw Snowy again. She had an expressionless face while telling Lu Sheng that this time he had depleted half a year's budget for the training camp. Lu Sheng's body trembled, thinking that Snowy was going to demand compensation from him. But Snowy continued, saying that each training puppet cost tens of millions, and the ones he had damaged couldn't be repaired. However, she mentioned that he didn't need to compensate and that it wasn't entirely his fault. Lu Sheng breathed a sigh of relief. Just then, the door behind them opened, revealing Qin and the 3 other young individuals. They were the ones who had successfully passed the assessment. Ling was startled when she saw Lu Sheng, and the other 2 individuals, one with an expressionless face and the other seemingly discontented, also caught his attention. Snowy congratulated the 4 of them once again and handed each person a card for storing their points. The 3 individuals received gold cards with 100 points each, while Lu Sheng received a white card. Lu Sheng thought it was an empty card without any points and flipped it over to read the usage rules on the back. It stated that a meal cost 5 points, 1 hour of practice in the training room cost 10 points, a session with a regular instructor cost 30 points, and a session with the head instructor required 100 points. Lu Sheng felt disappointed, realizing that only eating meat seemed to have any value. Upon hearing this, Qin fell off his chair in disbelief. Qin pointed to the white card and said, "That's a card worth 1,000 points. If it weren't for Snowy intervening and stopping the higher-ups, the losses caused by Lu Sheng would have cost a fortune. He would have had to pay back the points." When the other two heard that Lu Sheng had obtained 1,000 points, they were taken aback. The robust Chao Yong sneered with contempt, mocking the notion that the training camp was solely based on skill. He hadn't expected there to be privileged, leaving him greatly disappointed. Meng Jin he also smirked, agreeing with Chao Yong's remarks. Only Ling, standing weakly beside them, spoke up, "Do you even know what he has done?" Chao Yong burst into laughter, spreading rumors of bribery and collusion with classmates and instructors. He knew that the instructors were all third-level martial artists, so how could Lu Sheng possibly defeat them? With Lu Sheng's small frame and presumably low blood energy level, it seemed impossible. Chao Yong tore open his shirt, revealing his muscular physique, and locked his gaze onto Lu Sheng, activating his own talent. He sneered with disdain, eager to see Lu Sheng prove himself. Lu Sheng looked coldly at Chao Yong, sensing that things were about to escalate. Qin wanted to intervene but was stopped by Snowy. Lu Sheng sighed and reluctantly asked Chao Yong, "Are you sure you want to go through with this?" Ignoring Lu Sheng's words, Chao Yong charged toward him. Lu Sheng raised a single hand and made a flicking finger on the head gesture. In an instant, finger flickering with stellar technique combined, causing him to forcefully fly back several meters until he crashed heavily into the thick command room wall, creating a large hole. Chao Yong fell into unconsciousness, leaving everyone stunned. Only Lu Sheng was now concerned about whether he would be held responsible for the damage caused, considering it was Chao Yong who initiated the confrontation. Ling and Meng Jin were shocked and speechless. The two officers seemed to have anticipated the outcome. Lu Sheng asked if he could leave now. Just as Lu Sheng was about to depart, Snowy inquired about his plans for further training. She mentioned that he could use his points to receive personal guidance from her. Lu Sheng ain't no simp. He expressed his gratitude but declined Snowy's offer, stating that he had important matters to attend to. Without even looking back, he departed, leaving everyone curious about what could be more important than receiving personal guidance from Snowy. This sparked their curiosity, wondering what could outweigh such an opportunity. As Lu Sheng halted his steps, he turned around with a serious expression and said, "I'm going back to sleep." Everyone was left speechless, except for Qin, who burst into laughter. They followed Lu Sheng through the surveillance cameras and couldn't believe their eyes when they saw him actually going back to sleep. Lu Sheng's actions reminded Snowy and Qin of their own time in the training camp, particularly someone named Xiangpeng. Hearing that name, Qin's chest started to ache. During their time in the camp, Xiangpeng, with his power-based talent, had been like a king, crushing everyone beneath his feet. His presence had left a lasting impact on Snowy and Qin, but only for a short time. Skills, speed, observation, judgment, experience, tactics, and strategy, strength is not the only factor at play. Through time, constant accumulation, and growth, one can develop these qualities. Those who rely solely on their talent for power will ultimately fade away like fleeting flowers. Snowy believes that Lu Sheng might also end up this way. In the world of dreams, Lu Sheng is engaged in a fierce battle with a muscular zombie. The colossal fist of the zombie strikes towards Lu Sheng, but he blocks it with both hands. Seizing the opportunity, he grabs the zombie's fist with one hand and picks up a spear from the ground with the other. With a powerful thrust, he aims for the zombie's knee, immobilizing it. Lu Sheng activates the stellar technique, channeling all his strength into his arm. With a mighty strike, he kills the zombie. Lu Sheng can sense that this zombie was once a level 6 martial artist. Equivalent to Chairman Shao, if he hadn't used his psychic power to resist the previous attack, Lu Sheng would have been slain. Lu Sheng understands that martial arts skills and combat experience are true treasures obtained in the dream world, surpassing mere physical enhancement. Agility, boxing, palm techniques, leg techniques, spear techniques, sword techniques, human capacity has limits, and no one can excel in all areas. However, Lu Sheng is different. He stands on the shoulders of countless individuals, and he can achieve perfection without any flaws. Lu Sheng realizes that he needs to continue training his psychic power. If he were to encounter a true 6th-level powerhouse, he might not be able to win. He exits the dream world and enters the realm of consciousness, beginning to refine his psychic power. As Lu Xing touches his consciousness within the realm, a tremendous surge of energy enters his mind, causing it to feel as if it's about to explode. Along with the pain, something seems to have ruptured as well. He returns to the dream world and discovers that he has achieved another breakthrough. Summoning AI, Lu Xing wants to see if his future has changed. A new life record appears before him. Lu Xing, at the age of 65, advances to the 7th level martial artist, living to the age of 156, married, and holding the rank of Major General. Lu Xing is delighted and asks AI if his current access allows him to inquire about the continuation of the previous martial arts techniques. To his surprise, he receives advanced versions of the 3 techniques he previously practiced, along with an additional one called the Divine Pluto technique. This technique was created by an 11th level martial artist, and what astonishes him is that it is a complete martial arts technique. With boundless imagination and unfathomable strangeness, this martial arts technique is truly incredible. It is not a technique focused on combat skills, but rather specifically designed for psychic practitioners. It encompasses techniques and combat principles utilizing psychic power. The most crucial aspect of this technique is the ability to construct another body within the martial artist's own body using psychic power. This secondary body provides comprehensive enhancements to oneself. The first stage of this technique lies in utilizing psychic power to strengthen organs, thus achieving the amplification of blood energy level. This is precisely what Lu Xing needs. Despite his formidable combat strength, his blood energy level does not match up. This martial arts technique is truly terrifying, and the genius behind its creation is named Duan Yifeng. Lu Xing believes that even among 11th level martial artists, Duan Yifeng must be one of the most exceptional individuals. However, unfortunately, even such a person cannot prevent the destruction of human civilization. Lu Xing sighs, but his determination grows stronger. He knows that he still has a long journey ahead of him. He needs to become stronger, change history, and elevate the overall martial arts strength of human civilization. In the blink of an eye, a whole month had flown by. Inside the telekinesis chamber, Ling took her place at the very heart of the room, surrounded by a flurry of golden orbs hurtling toward her with incredible speed. Her eyes shut tightly, and within the realm of darkness, she glimpsed vivid flashes of purple light dancing before her. With precision and finesse, Ling's psychic abilities swiftly intercepted and deflected every single orb, showcasing her mastery over her newest creation, the Star Dart. As the training session drew to a close, the doors of the telekinesis chamber swung open, and Snowy entered, a beam of pride illuminating her face. She commended Ling on her remarkable progress, mentioning that once Ling could effortlessly control 6 star darts, it would signify her ascent to the coveted position of a level 1 psychic master. Ling humbly bowed, her voice filled with genuine gratitude for Snowy's invaluable guidance. However, Snowy's brows furrowed in concern as she detected a hint of lingering trauma within Ling's demeanor. Ling's mind suddenly jolted with recollection, her heart pounding with unease. Those haunting eyes, an abyssal gaze that seemed to emanate from the depths of hell itself, haunted her every night. Startled awake by nightmarish visions, she couldn't escape the grip of fear that tightened around her. She sobbed, her body shaking uncontrollably. Ling asked Snowy if there was any solution to this problem. Snowy's response was equally simple: find the person who had traumatized her, either defeat or kill him, defeat or kill. The thought lingered in her mind. Then she remembered that Lu Xing had been sleeping and wallowing in his room for the past month. If his abilities remained stagnant, perhaps there was a possibility of defeating him in the near future. Snowy exited the chamber of telekinesis and bumped into Qin outside the door. Qin was instructing Meng Jin. Although Ling had a somewhat timid personality, Meng Jin's character wasn't much better. Snowy inquired about Lu Xing's condition, and Qin shook his head, mentioning that Lu Xing had been asleep every time they delivered meals. He seemed to be a lost cause. Qin jokingly reminded Snowy of her previous words about enjoying dormitory life and sleeping all day without anyone caring. Snowy rubbed her temples, feeling disappointed in Lu Xing. Anger surged within her as she left in frustration. As Yang diligently went about her job of cleaning the training room, a girl arrived. It was a lively young girl, who appeared out of nowhere and offered her assistance. In an instant, they struck up a conversation. The girl, massaging her aching arm, let out a sigh of longing, confessing her envy for those who had rewarded 100 points. She confessed that she had to make sacrifices, even skipping meals, just to scrape together enough points to get by. Curiosity sparked within her, and she turned her attention to Yang, recalling her close association with Lu Sheng. The atmosphere grew heavy as the girl posed the question, sensing the shift in Yang's expression. The truth was, even Yang herself was perplexed by Lu Sheng's sudden change. Initially, he had displayed great promise and strength, but within a mere month, he seemed to have lost his drive, spending most of his time sleeping in the dormitory. The girl waved her hand dismissively, offering her perspective that those blessed with strength and talent often experience an explosive burst of strength initially, only to be overtaken by others in due time. Perhaps Lu Sheng had realized this and chosen to retreat from the limelight. Yang remained silent, her thoughts deep and complex. Deep down, she knew that Lu Sheng wasn't the type of person to give up so easily. With a heavy heart, she averted her gaze and continued with her cleaning duties. Suddenly, an uproar echoed through the door, drawing everyone's attention. The atmosphere brimmed with anticipation as Chao Yong prepared to challenge quadruple time gravity. Yang was shocked. She had attempted the one-time gravity chamber, however, she only managed to last mere 20 minutes before passing out. Eager to see what was going on, the girl eagerly tugged Yang's arm, urging her to check it out. Yang's mind raced with curiosity, whispering to herself, "Lu Sheng, what in the world are you up to?" Unbeknownst to them, Lu Sheng remained immersed in the depths of his dream world, diligently honing his skills and grinding experience. Inside the gravity room, Chao Yong braced himself to take on the challenge of 3 times the normal gravity. As he stood tall, his skin took on a stony texture, adorned with shimmering golden lightning. Gritting his teeth, he endured, surpassing the 4-minute mark within the chamber. Moments later, Chao Yong emerged from the gravity room, greeted by a chorus of praises from the onlookers. Taking in a deep breath, he cast a smug glance toward the crowd, savoring the satisfaction of their admiration. A loyal henchman approached, extending his congratulations, confidently asserting that it wouldn't be long until Chao Yong would conquer quadruple gravity. Chao Yong absent-mindedly rubbed his forehead, his thoughts drifting towards Lu Sheng. In response to Chao Yong's musings, the henchman burst into laughter, mocking Lu Sheng for spending his day daydreaming and sleeping. Chao Yong's grin widened, accompanied by a sneer, fueling his determination to surpass the supposedly arrogant Lu Sheng. Deep down, he knew all too well about the timeless tale of the turtle and the rabbit, and he relished the prospect of emerging as the victor in this race. In a split second, a blur of movement caught Chao Yong's attention, causing him to swiftly turn his head. To his surprise, it was Lu Sheng who passed by, making his way toward the gravity chamber. Lu Sheng glanced around, his eyes brimming with curiosity as he took in the surroundings. Chao Yong, unable to resist his disdain, mocked Lu Sheng for his month-long slumber. Ignoring Chao Yong's taunts, Lu Sheng's mind was preoccupied with more practical matters, reflecting on the number of points he had spent on meals throughout the month. With a clear plan in mind, he resolved to commence his training with a 3-hour session at level 2 gravity. As the door is about to close, Lu Sheng locked eyes with Chao Yong and uttered words that carried a resolute tone. "It's been a month. Time to test my progress." Chao Yong, pointing an accusatory finger, couldn't contain his astonishment at Lu Sheng's audacity. "You honestly believe that you can gain strength by idling away your days by sleeping? Are you kidding me?" he exclaimed. Chao Yong's disbelief only intensified as he observed Lu Sheng's entry into the gravity chamber without any apparent warm-up. The chamber door sealed shut and the countdown commenced, each passing second fueling Chao Yong's sneering demeanor. He took delight in ridiculing Lu Sheng's perceived arrogance and ignorance. Minutes ticked by, accompanied by an eerie silence emanating from within the gravity chamber. It was as if the doubled gravity had no effect on Lu Sheng at all. Suddenly, the ground beneath them began to tremble, causing the bystanders to gasp in shock. Their eyes widened in disbelief as they witnessed Lu Sheng's lightning-fast kicks and punches, each strike generating thunderous sonic booms even within the confines of the chamber. Lu Sheng was enjoying the chamber, relishing the effect of the intensified gravity. He moved closer to the control panel, Chao Yong, assuming Lu Sheng's intentions to quit. However, to his utter surprise, a piercing sound reverberated from outside the chamber. Chao Yong's jaw dropped in disbelief as he witnessed what unfolded before him. Lu Sheng, against all expectations, had increased the gravity from 2 times to an astounding 4 times. With his eyes closed, Lu Sheng basked in the enhanced gravitational force. He gracefully knelt on one knee, causing onlookers to mistakenly believe that he had reached his limit. But then, in a display of sheer audacity, Lu Sheng slowly raised 2 fingers.